Welcome to Kumbaya Corner, where we talk about everything. It's really everything that is going on here. When people ask me, what's my podcast about? I feel like that is the hardest question I have had to answer recently because I don't know, like, where do I even start? But a good synopsis of what my podcast is about is my podcast is about everything that has been on my mind. You know, imagine imagine a box with like papers. Like imagine a box. Let's say that box is my mind, and each piece of paper has like a different topic written on it. So each episode is just me picking up a paper rather from that box, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is what we are going to talk about today. That's a good idea for a YouTube. If I ever start a YouTube for this, I probably will. So nobody should steal my idea. But welcome to today's episode of Kumbaya Corner. And today I will be doing a deep dive on my latest Substack post, which is actually, it's not my latest. It's like, I think I did two more after I did this one, but it's one of them anyway. One of the ones I did this month. Because, like, I aim to do like 3 publications each month. Yeah, just so I'm not starving my subscribers. But yeah, it's called the Post-perfectionist propaganda. And when I have told my friends that, oh, this is what this episode was about, they were like, what does that mean? What does that mean? And when I tell you, the name literally came to me like like while I was typing, because I wanted to call it something else, but I decided to call this the Post-perfectionist propaganda because as I was typing, as I was writing it, typing, whatever, I was like, that's a good name. But it's like, I think it needs a good deep dive because, you know, yeah, it needs a good deep dive. So I'm going to give it one in this episode. And yeah, so the post-perfectionist propaganda, let's break it down. Post is like after, perfectionist is like trying to make things perfect. We all know what perfectionist is. And be like, oh yeah, I'm a perfectionist, blah blah. It's like, yeah, okay. And then propaganda is like false information. Or something you realize is false information. So basically it's the mindset that comes after perfection, or the theory of being a perfectionist loses its grip. So it's that post perfectionist like clarity, but I called it a propaganda because it's like perfectionism is the propaganda. So this is post, it's like, you know, after I realized, oh yeah, perfectionism is a propaganda. This is the realization I came to while writing this article. And basically, in the article, I got into how I've been pondering and just thinking about my life. And then I realized like, I leave things unfinished, you know. Sometimes it's like just the situation that I was in that didn't let me finish that specific task. For example, my uni. For people that may know me, I started studying law in university, but I didn't complete. I wasn't able to finish because up to my final year, it was no longer affordable. So I kind of had to drop out. So yeah, that happened. I feel like that's something I feel like I've moved on, but I have not like mentally recovered from it because there's still a part of me that's like, oh yeah, I left this incomplete. And then there's also a situation of going to the gym. Gym goers, regular gym goers, if you have not had a moment where you're like, "Do you know what, I actually don't want to do this anymore." If you have not had that moment, then I guess you cannot relate to this. But like me, every few business days, I'm just like, "Hey, yo, I actually don't want to do this anymore. Like, can I just chill?" So yeah, that was the thing. Leaving things unfinished. Even my substack, sometimes I'm like, I feel dry on ideas. I feel like, what am I going to write? What do people want to hear? How many people am I even writing for? Who is going to read it? So I go into this whirlpool of like, oh my God, what even is all of this for? And then I feel like quitting. I say feel like because here I am, talking about something I wrote last week, meaning I haven't quit. But it's just that thought that comes, leaving things unfinished, incomplete. I don't continue enough to see progress. It's like I started, excuse me, I started. And starting is so fun. That's the thing. That is just the thing. When you're like, oh, I need a new hobby, I'm going to start doing this. It's always so exciting to be like, oh, I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing now. This is fun. Like, that's the best part, actually talking about the thing that you said you were going to do. That is actually the best part of the idea. That is the best part of the process. But when you actually start, and you've been consistent for a while, I don't think people talk enough about that point where midway when you're like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Actually, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to quit. And at that point, a lot of times, that's where I leave it. Or sometimes I don't even realize that I've just stopped doing it. And I guess sometimes it's okay to just like lose interest, but in a situation where you want to see progress or you're expecting results from a new thing that you have, just a new hobby or whatever you've just started and you want to see progress from it, you can't really stop midway. Like, you can't actually. Water break. Yeah, you can't really stop midway because the results are not in the middle. The results are in the end. And if, like me, yeah, the results are not in the middle. The results are in your continuation, in your consistency. So I guess this was something that just hits me one day. Like my subconscious, my inner mind, my inner self was just like, you don't continue any of these things enough to see results. And the moment that realization came to me, I guess I challenged myself. I was like, do you know what? I'm actually not going to stop doing this thing until I start to see the results I want to see. So, yeah, this is me coming out of that, propaganda. I'm just coming out of that rabbit hole and I'm like, do you know, I'm actually going to continue because I haven't seen the results I wanted. So I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep trying doing this. Even if it means I'm going to keep doing it, like I'm going to use a different way, a different method to keep doing it until I see the result that I want to see. And that is the mindset that I want everyone that is listening to the sound of my voice to pick up. Yeah. The idea of consistency is so amazing. It's like, yeah, I wake up, I do my stretches every day. I hold a plank for like 2 minutes. I do my cat and cow pose every day. It's so nice. Like, even you doing it, you would feel good in yourself. Like, oh, yeah, I said I would do this and I'm doing it. And then one random Thursday morning, because it always Thursdays, because on the Thursday, I wake up and I'm like, I can't believe it's not Friday yet. But yeah, it's always one Thursday morning that you really don't feel like doing those stretches. And then that's how it starts. You don't do it on Thursday, you don't do it on Friday. On Saturday, you tell yourself, oh, it's a weekend, I want to chill. and then you don't do it that day either. But it's like, in reality, it is the daily grind, the quiet repetition when no one is watching. That's where you seem to slip, but that's where you're going to start seeing your results. It's like, who are you when no one is watching? Who are you? What are you doing when no one is there to give you a well done? And in moments like this, when I feel like I'm starting to lose my momentum, or starting to lose the excitement that I had at the beginning that made me want to start initially, it makes me kind of think like, okay, um, what, you know, what were my intentions? What's my motive? Because you need to rearrange your priorities in moments where you feel like you're losing the consistency. You need something to remind you. You need that reminder of what it was all for to keep you going. And then at some point, I guess I realized that my reason for my intention from the start was validation. I liked the idea of telling people that I go to the gym and I work out. Cause it's like, yeah, I work out. You know, it's always nice. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is me being so bare. I'm being so honest. Like, but we're not there anymore, obviously. It's like there was that. Um, yeah. So when I realized that, actually I'm just craving the validation that comes from saying I'm doing this thing over, me actually committing to doing the thing. And it's like you're actually cheating yourself because it's silly. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I started to tell myself I need to rearrange my priorities. It's kind of sick and twisted that I'm doing this to get a nod of approval, you know. So that was when I took a social media break. It was like, I think I took a break for like 2 weeks, but it meant something to me because I'm an avid social media user. Been here for time, chronically online. Yeah. But I was like, I need to not do this because it wasn't just like social media was at fault, but it was more like I needed to rearrange my priorities. And in order for me to rearrange my priorities, I needed to quiet the outside noise and listen to the only voice that matters, which is mine. I needed to remind myself of my reason for keeping on going. And when I finally listened to myself and I had to think about it, I realized it had little to do with the gym and little to do with the validation. It was more about me, my patterns, my fears, my half built ideas, and my nearly finished dreams. The things I stopped nurturing right before they bloom because somewhere deep down was a fear of being seen. Ooh, ooh, yeah. I am absolutely so scared of being seen, of being perceived. So it was like there's the fear of being seen, and then that's one thing. And then there was like an underlying fear of being seen trying, which is like, and as much as I love attention, like, I love attention sometimes. Like, sometimes I just love being the center of attraction as well. Guilty. That is me. There's also a very quiet fear of being seen because I really felt like, you know, visibility is dangerous if it's not properly protected, which is kind of true. But then when that kind of became the center point to which I was living my life, you can see how I would do things and then midway I'm like, ooh, I hope I'm not doing too much. Oh, what is this person going to say? What is that person going to say? And this has a lot to do with how I grew up in a religious, conservative conservative home. So it was just such a thing. It was like You don't want to be noticed too much. You don't want to stand out too much. You don't want, yeah. There was just that thing. Or there was a thing of like being visible, but like not too much. But it's like when you are light, you know, you want to be light because I don't know who else. I don't know if it's just me. I don't like dim lights. It gives me a headache actually. Like think about it. When the lights are dim, unless it's like a warm light that is actually setting the vibe. If you're going to turn on the lights, please turn on the lights. Like I don't appreciate it. And it's like even in like a practical sense of being light or like as a child of God or just being light as a person, you want to shine. You can't really be like, oh, I'm not gonna shine here, I'm not gonna shine there. You're either shining or you're not shining. You're either light or you are not light. Do you get what I mean? So it's like, yeah, my awareness of just that light and then of just being visible. And then it was like, once you are visible, you can't really control how you will be perceived, you know? Because that's another genuine concern I had. Once you put yourself on the internet or once you put yourself out there, you're not really in control of how you are going to be received. Do you understand what I mean? So these were the things that were like the underlying, this is all lying under like trying to make things perfect when I'm just starting. So it's like trying to make things perfect when I'm just starting is here. And then under that is like, no. The first thing was actually stopping things midway. So that's the first thing. And then under that was because I'm stopping midway because it's not looking how I want it to look. But it's like I'm just starting, so it's not going to look like that. But that's the second layer. And then beneath that layer was a fear of being seen. And then beneath the fear of being seen was like a fear of being seen trying. And along with being seen trying, it's like, even if I am seen, I can't control how people are going to receive me because everything is perception and you can't be in multiple places at once. You can't stand where everybody is standing and look at yourself to see how they are looking at you. That is physically impossible. But if you find out a way that it is possible, please let me know. Put a girl on. But yeah, so that's it. But as you can see, I really did a deep dive. I asked myself questions. I really fell into a rabbit hole on this one because I need to get to the bottom of it because starting and stopping things is no longer cute. It's kind of ruining my resume. My personal resume is ruining my aura. It's taking like it's really just not the vibe anymore. And I also noticed like my brain doesn't know the difference. Like my brain just tends to blur the difference between visibility and being held at gunpoint. It's like I go into fright or flight either mode. And it's mostly always fright. Like I'm always like, ooh, oops. Do you know what I mean? And it's like being seen automatically opens doors of rejection or exclusion or hostility, which is what I thought. But it's like in the same way it opens the possibility of that, it also opens the possibility of acceptance by the right people and just positive things as much as the negative things. I don't know if everybody has heard or seen a post that has said overthinking. Like, why don't you overthink positive things? And I was like, you know what? Hell yeah, I'm going to do that. Do you know what I mean? And if at all, I desire to be seen. I wanted to be seen as, or I want to be seen rather in my picture perfect form, you know. And this was the point where I named it. That is a propaganda because there's no such thing as picture perfect. In fact, if there's such a thing as picture perfect, that means like we all have one definition of what is perfect, and that's not true, you know. There's no blueprint of what there's no blueprint of what perfection is or of what success looks like. Because I really genuinely came to the realization that success really, really does look like in reality, success really does look different for everybody. So writing this, I guess, I felt like it was a relief to kind of wave goodbye to the version of me that lived in this perfectionist propaganda as gospel truth, because things are going so well on the other side of like, on me now being like, "Do you know what, actually, I'm going to continue things. I'm going to continue doing this until I see the result I want to see. And even then, and even when I see the results I want to see, I'm going to have another goal and I'm just going to keep hitting my goals that I've set for myself. Cause at the end of the day, it's really, really not a race. It's actually not a race. Even if it's a race, you can count me out. You are actually not in competition with anyone but the you of yesterday. And that is the person you should aim to be better than. Clock it. So yeah. So now for me on the other side, after this realization and personal evaluation, being seen now is about presence over performance, which is another agenda I'm trying to push. Keep showing up. Keep doing it. I sound like Nike, but like it's about presence over perfection. It's quality over quantity on this side of the stick. We're making it exist first and then we make it perfect later. Unfinished, unsure, mid-process, being seen soft, being seen hard, be seen. See me however you want to see me, you know? And then it was like I saw this tweet on Twitter because I'm a Twitter girl. I'm never going to call it X, by the way. So yeah, keep your corrections to yourself. To let in abundance, I must first become softness. And to achieve softness, I must first become vulnerable. Clock it. But because maybe that's what all my half finished things were about. Not laziness and not distraction, but fear. Fear of being seen in the messy middle before the masterpiece. So I'm doing things a little bit differently because at the end of the day, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting the same result is madness. So you know what? I'm going to do something different. I'm going to do something different. To be seen even when I'm still becoming, because that's, you know, that is what it is really and truly. So this is me unlearning the cult of perfection and trying to believe in progress instead. And I hope I have inspired someone today to do the same. Thank you guys for listening to this episode of Kumbaya Corner. Ha ha ha. Catch you guys on the next episode because the next episode will be coming soon. Also, check out my substack. It's called Kumbaya Corner. I have an Instagram, Kumbaya Corner. Not a lot is going on the Instagram yet, but soon. Thank you guys. Bye. Welcome to Kumbaya Corner, where we talk everything. It's really everything